Yeah. Quinn on the mic, I'ma lace it with truth. Phillip in the back, calling plays from the booth. Podcast vibes, broadcasting the word. Sharper than a two-edged sword. Every verse heard on my arm strap. Shield tight like a glove. Faith in my veins, powered by God's love. Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in his will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Belt of truth, yeah, I'm suited to rise. Yeah, shoes fitted tight, spreading peace while I step. I run this race with Jesus, no regret. You feel the heat, that's the fire of the spirit. Voices in the dark, but I don't even hear it. Face my defense, prayer's my offense. Victory in Jesus, yeah, it's immense.
Welcome back to Armor Up Athletics. This is episode 30 called Surrender. My name is Matt Quinn, joined as always by Phillip Leviner. What's up, Phillip?
What's up, Matt? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Had a busy week so far. Had some recruits on campus, had some meetings start and getting ready for spring practice next week, man. Excited.
That's right. It is close to the spring. I got to find a way to make sure I get up there at least for that spring game. I got to get Armor up there on deck.
You should be on the sideline doing some interviews, man.
If you give me a press pass or so, if you know somebody, let me know.
We'll have to get you out of Florida.
Definitely going to come up for that game, though. Seriously, I'm gonna get up there for that.
Love it, man. We'd love to have you come over and hang out with the staff a little bit and check things out, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I'm excited.
Well, again, guys, this is episode 30 called Surrender. We're excited to have you here and talk about this topic a little bit. It's something that sounds so simple, surrender. One word title, one word thing, but it might be one of the hardest things that we do, right? Surrender. And I'm not talking about quitting. I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about giving control to God.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things I think every believer probably has dealt with at some point. I know for me, giving it all. When we say give it all to God, you can't partially surrender. You can't 1/4% surrender. When you make that leap and you do it, it has to be fully surrendered to Him and His will. And when you do that, it'll truly open up doors for you that you wouldn't really believe that would open. But it's got to be total surrender, Matt, and it's a tough thing to do sometimes.
Easier said than done, for sure. I think so many times, especially in the sports world, when we hear the word surrender, we think about quitting and giving up. And by no means is this episode or this topic about giving up. It's about giving up control and giving up your life to Christ.
Yeah, and you think of the word surrender in battles where people have surrendered, like they've lost the war. That's not necessarily what you're doing. I think you could look at it as you're dying to yourself to be reborn in Him. So in a sense, you are giving up yourself and giving up control of yourself to let God take that control. But surrender is definitely doesn't mean the same thing in the biblical and believer context as it does on the battlefield or something like that. But it's definitely a big part of being a believer and getting to that next step is that total surrender to Him.
Man, you just said a word right there, bro. That was awesome, man. It's like you have to surrender your old ways. You have to surrender your old self, your old way of doing things, your old mentality. Surrender that to God and watch what happens to you guys. I mean, we sit here and we share a lot of stories from our personal lives. And to be quite honest, we can. It's our show. If you want to share your story, get a show or come join us. We'll let you share your story. We'll let you share your story. But when we surrendered, I know me personally, I know Phillip feels the same way. When I surrendered, it's crazy what happened in my life. I get an NCAA job. My family and my kids and my wife and our relationships have never been better. It's amazing what can happen when you truly surrender.
Yeah, everything in my life instantly began to get better. Now, everything didn't come at once, right? There was still some struggles and still some hurdles that you have to go through. God doesn't give it to you all at once. He's going to feed you as you need to be fed. And again, you have to remember, guys, you have to do this daily. I think you have to die daily to yourself. You have to surrender daily. It's not a one-time thing and you're off the hook. You have to continue to do that. You have to continue to wake up and give him the control and understand that you're not in control, which was very hard for me. And you can ask my wife. I like things here. I like it. If we say we're going to leave at 7, I want to be out the door at 6:45. So giving up control is something that's definitely tough, especially of your own life and your own will. So, very, very tough thing to do. But I'm like you, Matt. When I did it fully, improvement immediately started, and it's done nothing but gotten better. Now, do I still have struggles and battles? Sure, but I'm more confident in fighting them now. I know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you just mentioned it, man. We love control. I love, the control aspect, just like you mentioned, control of the football team. Athletes definitely love the control. We want to control so many things. We want to control the outcome. We want to control the scoreboard. We want to control the roster spot. We want to control our future. But the reality is, faith doesn't work like that, man. God, He asks us to release control, to surrender before He reveals His plan.
We say a lot of times, control what you can control, right? We use that term so much, especially in sports. I tell my kids that all the time. Control what you can control. When it gets out of your control, you have to either let it go or turn it over to God, or just, you have to do something. If you can't control it, you got to let it go. And that's to me, that's what giving that control to God is. When my life got out of control and I couldn't really control it, I'm like, okay, here you go, bud. You take this for a while. I can't deal with it. I'm not doing well with it. I'm going to give that. But I still control the things I can control, which is reading my Bible, praying, trying to be a better person, trying to watch what I say. So there's still a little bit of control that you can have. And that control, what you can control thing comes in for me very good right there. The things I can't control, the things I don't want to control, the things I don't need to control, I give to God. I give that surrender to him. And
Yeah.
that's the part that I think you really, really, really got the grasp on this lesson this week.
Yes. The control what you can control, man. That's another one of those things that I say a lot. I mean, you must have got that one from me as well. I mean, the 1% better control what you can
Well,
control.
that was a Jack Jolly thing from back in the day. He kind of used that a lot when we were in baseball practice.
It's definitely been passed around in the sports world, in the coaching circles for sure. I love it because we talk about it. Like, we can't control what fans do or don't do. We can't control if they show up. We can't control what the referee calls. We can't control those things. What we can control is our attitude and our emotion. And it's a similar thing here in our faith and in our lives, right? God doesn't want you to give up or doesn't want you to quit. He wants you to say, God, even if this isn't my plan, I trust yours.
Yeah, and I simplified it, and you just kind of hit on it there. One thing that we try to do in my house and take it to the field is two things we can control. That's effort and attitude, right? That's the only two things that you got full control over. If you control those two things and you give the rest to God and you give a good effort and you keep a good attitude, I promise you things will get better. You may not fall into $1 million, sack of money, but your life will get better because if you wake up every day and you're just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this today, or oh my God, it's cold outside, it's hot. If you're just complaining all day, what have you done you've defeated yourself to start with. So effort and attitude, you got to give up. You got to give a good effort for the day. And if you do those things, and then the rewards will come, man. And it's just I didn't believe that for a long time, right? I didn't. I had the old poor me syndrome is what I call it. Why ain't God doing anything for me? Why am I getting a blessing? Why does he get a blessing? I know what he's done, So you clear all that out. You don't worry about that. You give that to God and you control what you can control. And I promise you put what I call maybe some temporary blinders on. You don't need to see everything that's going on. Worry about you.
Absolutely. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in life, man. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in life happen after surrender. I know it happened for me. You've talked about it. Happened for you. That moment is really special, and you feel it, and you feel peace, and you feel ease when you stop fighting God's direction. When you
And
stop
it's
going against Him, and you start moving with Him, everything works out much better for you.
and it's still happening. Like it doesn't stop if you continue to believe and you continue to pray and you continue to give him the control. I found myself even now, on the drive down to Florida today, dealing with some issues on the phone where in the past I'd have just been like trying to do everything I could to get it solved, trying to, and it's, some of these things are out of my realm. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do when I get there. I found myself even dealing with issues better. I don't get worked up over stuff I can't control. So it really is a peace. It's more of a peaceful thing. I promise you, you'll find some peace if you do it, and clarity. I mean, I've never been more clear. Uh, Waking up in the mornings, I have a plan now. I don't know. It's just it affects everything that you do if you fully surrender. It really does.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to jump into Coach Quinn's real talk here, Phillip.
I love it when you do this.
Some people that are listening today, watching today on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, whatever it is, you might be fighting battles you were never meant to carry alone. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's pride, maybe it's fear, maybe it's failure. And the reason that weight feels so heavy on you right now is because you haven't surrendered it yet. Surrender isn't weakness. Surrender is trust, guys. Surrender whatever you're going through. Surrender it. Trust Him, and you will come out on a peaceful side of things.
It always hits, Matt. It always lands on the mark, man. You can't say it any better than that. I don't even have anything additional to say. That was perfect.
Well, Phillip, sometimes I get hit with some good words. Sometimes I make some good notes, and that one just felt good today. It felt really good.
That was spot on. It's the truth. I mean,
Locker room challenge. Locker room challenge. This week, I want you guys to ask yourself one question. What am I still trying to control that God wants me to surrender? Maybe it's your future, your reputation, your plans, your fears. Write it down. Pray over it. Surrender it to God. I'm not telling you to forget about it, and I'm not telling you to just throw it away, but surrender it. Truly turn it over to Him. Pray over it. Talk to Him about those things that you're fearing. Talk to Him about your plans. Talk to Him about your future. He will reveal it in His time, but you have to accept the locker room challenge and release those things to Him. Surrender those things to Him.
yeah, and that's, to give you a very good example, that's what I did with Florida football, Matt. I just turned it over to God, tired of getting mad about it. Speaking
Oh,
of, I am in Gainesville, Florida, guys, by the way. I'm sitting down here in God's country, giving it all to God tonight. So, but yeah, on the, I think if you really sit down and you analyze that and you can do some self-reflection, you will find that if you're still struggling, you haven't given it all to God. If you're still kind of wondering and everything feels iffy, you haven't totally surrendered. And again, I walked that line a long time until I actually crossed over that line. I didn't know how good it would feel to give that up. And again, you're still going to have some trials and tribulations. That's just living life. But you'll be more prepared and more clear, more present to fight it, and more prepared to fight it. So to me, I talk about this all the time. I wish I'd have done it 30 years ago. But again, I guess I wouldn't have the story I have now.
yeah.
So same, I think God puts us out there and lets us go through these things, and He has a calling for people, and He knows. I mean, at the end of the day, He knew 30 years ago me and you were going to be here. So
Oh, that's amazing. It really is, man. Again, thank you guys, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the shares, the comments, the likes. All those things are awesome. You're not doing it for us, you're doing it for God's kingdom. Episode 30, surrender. Again, guys, surrender doesn't mean the battle's over. Surrender doesn't mean you're no longer fighting alone. You guys surrender your plans.
Yep, and we didn't start out with the verses, but I'm gonna throw the verses in there. The one I had for that one was Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This verse to me was one of the first ones that came up when I was first getting into this believing and really kind of even before August when I really said, God, okay, you got it, right? It was in between May and August when I was kind of walking that line. This verse came heavily to me, and it's been one of my forefront verses because look, man, there's a lot of times I don't understand. There's so many things I don't understand that happen in this world and that happen to people and that happen daily that I don't get. And I have to come back and read this verse because we can't understand it. We're not built to understand it. We're built to surrender and do our part for our own lives. And if look, is it fair sometimes? No. You got to do this and you can't do this, and then you can't ask why that happened. Yeah, I get all that, but that's the point. That's the whole point.
Yeah, man, I got so excited with our talks. We're having a great discussion that I jumped right over my verse as well. But hey, we got to it. It all worked out. My verse for the week was James 4:7. And it says, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. That's James 4:7. Before victory, before breakthrough, before purpose, there has to be surrender. You have to submit yourself to God.
Yeah. And again, the thing that I had wrote down, surrender to God is the daily intentional act of relinquishing personal control and plans and will to trust in divine guidance and sovereignty. It's daily. It's a daily fight. It's a daily battle. It's a daily dying to yourself. Understand, and that's what for me in the mornings is a good time. The kids and the wife get out the door, and I have a few minutes to myself where I can just get in silence and really get in my Bible to start with because I don't know why, but it seems like the mornings is the devil attacks me the worst. Like I am not a morning guy. I get up and I just start thinking about everything, so I have to dive right into my Bible and go ahead and do it right then.
Agree, man. It's best to start off your day with something positive. The old saying, make your bed and at least you've accomplished one thing today.
Yep.
Um,
That's a great speech, by the way. That
so,
guy does
yeah,
a great job on
yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, man, we'll jump over into some sports here on episode 30 of Armor Up Athletics called Surrender. And going into sports, Phillip, what was your jersey number 30 for the night?
Oh, you know who it was? TD himself, Terrell Davis.
Great pick. Great pick. I don't know if I could come up
Great.
with anybody else. After you sent that, I was like, yep, that's the one. There's nothing else I can say on that one.
He was a horse for sure.
Yeah. It's like
He
we're
was,
right here in the running back numbers era, too.
yeah, yeah. That those middle to low numbers, or there's some studs too that we called out. But TD was cool. I like watching him play. Sometimes he gets forgotten about. I don't know why. He was such a dog, man. Those hard nosed running backs.
Yeah. Episode 30, the TD episode. Jumping into some sports here, Phillip, I expect a great report on the Gators' road to Omaha.
We slipped a little bit this weekend. Lost 2-3 to High Point, but we did sweep the Hurricanes. We got FSU tonight at home in the first of three. They play during the week. And matter of fact, I'm in Gainesville and may or may not be going to that tonight. But yeah,
Working on the road must be real tough. You get to go sit in club seats and you get to go watch sports. I mean, you must have a tough job, Phillip.
Look, every now and then there's a perk or two for being on the road, man, right? There's got to be something out here than sitting in the hotel room all the time. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to big things out of my Gators basketball team heading into the SEC tournament. Gators baseball is top 25 right now. So, things are a little bright in Gainesville right now.
Yeah, man. I think after this weekend, you should be able to give it. Like I think you should actually request an press box pass and get in there and interview some Florida Gator baseball players for me.
Look, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna get in there early and see if I can get down to the field and get them to sign my hat or something. Brendan Lawson's an man. He's a monster. I love to watch that kid play. He's already at 8 home runs this year. He's just unbelievable baseball player. Which I love baseball. That was my sport. Still a big football fan, man. But I mean, I'm one of those guys that can watch a 9 inning baseball game and it doesn't bother me. So watching the World Baseball Classic right now
Yeah, I was
too.
about to say, speaking of
Yeah.
baseball, man, the World Baseball Classic, the United States of America up 3-0 right now. They're 3-0
Bobby
and
Witt Jr. was crazy last night.
yeah.
He's worth every penny they are spending on him. I have 6 of his rookie cards, and I think they all doubled last night. I mean, he's on fire, man. But they got such a stud team. Aaron Judge, Skeen, Scooble. I mean, I wouldn't want to face that team.
Yeah, how about the 17-year-old that did get Aaron Judge to hit into a double play ball the other night?
Yeah,
17. I couldn't imagine, some of these guys from other countries. I mean, they talk about it on ESPN and stuff, but just dudes that work regular jobs, and now they're coming out here playing against Aaron Judge. Had to pitch against a 17-year-old pitching against Aaron Judge. You got, a plumber throwing against this lineup. Like, good
yeah.
luck, dude.
And a lot of people don't realize in like Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, that's all they do. Like when I lived in Puerto Rico for that year when I was working, every kid had a stick and some type of makeshift ball. I mean, they didn't have Marucci bats and ball. They were making stuff up and they were playing baseball on every corner. So there's a lot of really good baseball players that come out of those countries. Venezuela's got a stacked team. Don Rep, you got Juan Soto, Manny Machado, all those guys on that team. So there's still some good baseball to be played in the Baseball Classic. I like the USA. I like their roster, but they're going to have
Yeah.
to play some baseball.
U.S. right now sitting at 3-0, playing Italy tonight as we record this Tuesday night. Italy's 2-0.
Jack Caglione from the
Yeah,
Gators and the
yeah.
Royals plays for Italy.
Puerto Rico sitting at 3-0 in the World Baseball Classic. So there's some good competition here, but obviously I'm rooting for the home team, man. Red, white, and blue.
Hey, first time we beat Mexico in about 20 years in the Baseball Classic. So that was big. We had one big inning with them. They're a good baseball team. So to get past them and go 3-0 in the pool play really
Yeah.
says a lot, man. But
Dominican
you still
Republic.
got Shohei out there too.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Dominican Republic sitting at 3-0. You've got Venezuela sitting at 3-0. I mean, this is not easy by no
No.
means. And then you got all these games thrown in there. You play in one day and take a day off, play the next day. Some games are back to back. It's a grind. And then you've got, all the guys that are MLB players are still trying to get back to their training camps and get prepared for the MLB season
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it's a tough time of year to have it too, because they're fixing to really get started in baseball. And then a lot on the line. I love the way these guys still want to play in this thing that for pride and country. I think the World Baseball Classic's a great, great event. I don't think a lot of people realize how international baseball is, and that a lot of the stars in MLB come from Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Brazil, Dominican Republic, and it's so diverse with the talent pool that's there. And it's always good to see all of them go back home to their country and play for their country and their pride as well too. So it just lets you know how passionate they are about baseball.
Well, and also how passionate they are about their country, their
Hmm.
heritage. I mean, that's really cool to see. I mean, you see guys getting emotional when they win a game, with their country across their chest, and it's really cool. And they're playing for something
Oh yeah.
far bigger than, the Braves or the Yankees. Like they're playing for their country, and they want to put that pride out there in their country.
It definitely means something. You can tell that. I mean, they were back and forth last night. The passion and the emotion in that game. Bobby Witt just laying out on 2 diving plays and giving everything he's got. You can tell that they want to win that game. It means a lot to them. So, and that's good baseball to watch, man. That's what I want to see. I don't want to turn on the baseball classic and see guys being lazy and not running fly balls out. So, when he laid out, I come out of my chair. I was like, oh my God, that's insane.
Well, man, Tuesday the 17th will be the World Baseball Classic final. So before our next episode on St. Patrick's Day, We'll see the World Baseball Classic final. We're going into some quarterfinals and stuff this weekend. Really excited to see where that goes, man. Maybe we can take women's hockey, men's hockey, and baseball here in a span of 2 weeks. That would be really cool.
You got all the NCAA tournaments this weekend too. The field should be set after this weekend, I believe, or they'll get ready to draw it for the NCAA. I love March Madness too, man. Not a huge basketball fan, but college basketball March Madness is always fun to watch because again, you don't have to rankings can go out the window. It's great to be a number one seed. I know Florida's probably going to end up getting that fourth number one seed. Doesn't matter. You got to play solid basketball one game at a time, or you go home.
Speaking of the tournament, how do you feel about Miami of Ohio? I mean, some people's got them as a bubble team and this and that. They're 31-0, Phillip.
They are, and again, there's Cinderella's always welcome at the ball, But again, this is that time of year where you got to go. I mean, you got Duke, you got Texas Tech, you got Houston, you got Florida, you got some dog teams out there that can play. So that 31-0 record's cool, but guess what? You about to be 0-0.
Yeah. New beginnings. We talked about it
Now, do they have a chance? Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. You don't go 31-0 for nothing.
Yeah. I think they deserve to be in. I think they deserve a shot. Now, of course, everything resets. Everybody's 0-0. But leaving them out with a 31-0 record would be an absolute travesty, in my opinion. I think they've earned it. I think those kids have earned it. I think that coaching staff has earned it. So my message is put them in. Put them in, guys.
Do they get in with the conference champion, or do they have? I mean, they got to win. They still got to win the championship.
Yeah.
The tournament, right?
Yeah, but I mean, still, like if they don't.
Yeah, I mean, 31-0. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what it is. That's pretty stout. Yeah. I'm all for it, especially in basketball and things like that, because I think that it's a little bit more competitive as far as like you put the football playoffs, James Madison against, Miami. That's tough. I get it. But basketball and baseball and those sports, I mean, look, High Point, nobody knows where High Point is, except probably me and you. It's in North Carolina. They just won their conference. They're in the NCAA tournament, and they just took 2 or 3 from Florida in baseball. I did not realize that they pump money into that school, and High Point plays good ball. So I got calls this week like, High Point beat Florida. I'm like, have you ever researched High Point? Granted, they probably shouldn't have beat Florida in baseball, but that's the beauty of those games, man. You line up and you can play, and you play good ball, you hit some shots, you're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it can happen in any sport. I would argue that it's much easier in basketball, baseball. If you're talking about major sports, it's much easier to see those upsets. Baseball's a weird game, man. Like anybody can beat anybody. Basketball, same way. I mean, you might just get hot one night and be hitting threes. Like who knows?
Yep.
I just think it's easier in those sports. Now it can be done in football. We've seen it happen. We've seen App State beat Michigan before.
Yeah.
We've seen those types of things. So, but it just happens. It seems to be more prevalent in baseball and basketball.
Yeah, I think in football, if you're a really good team and you start making a few mistakes, you still have the ability to overcome those. Where if you make 2 or 3 errors in an inning, you give up 4 or 5 runs and they're pitching good, it's hard to get those runs back, man. You're not guaranteed just to come in and score. Now, again, yes, we've seen Boise State take out Oklahoma. We've seen App State win. We've seen it happen. But you're right. I think basketball and baseball have a tendency to be, I don't want to say easier. Nothing's easier, but the upset is more prevalent in those sports.
Absolutely, man. Talking about basketball, we'll be having a special guest join us here shortly. A state champion now, one of the newest state champions in the state of South Carolina. We'll be welcoming Trent Robinson from Westwood High School, 5A state champs in basketball, man. It's going to be a good time with Trent.
Look, that is awesome. Anytime you can win a championship, I think it's outstanding. 5A basketball in the state of South Carolina. We've had a few ballers come out of here to the NBA. South Carolina's got a little street credit when it comes to basketball, and I love it. I love anytime I hear guys winning state championships. that crowd's got to be ecstatic for all the work they put in, and it culminates in a championship. So congratulations to Westwood and Coach. And I know he's probably still smiling on that one.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I also want to shout out North Augusta, man. North Augusta boys 4A state champions. North Augusta girls basketball 4A state champions. Won it on both sides, man. And to tell you how dominant the girls program has been, Phillip, girls basketball at North Augusta has won 7 championships in the past 10 years. Seven
Good.
state championships in 10 years. Call it a dynasty. Coach Al Young played for the Steelers when the Immaculate Reception happened, by the way. Played for the Steelers, ends up learning the game of basketball and stops coaching football way, way, way back in his career, and has turned North Augusta basketball into a dynasty on the girls' side. The boys' side, Coach Tony Harrell, love him to death. One of my best friends. We texted about his big win. Goes to double overtime against South Point. Last year, they were 27-1 and were so close to felt like they had the team. They graduated some guys. People kind of wrote them off and didn't think they could get back to that point. He goes back to the state championship this year, wins the state championship in double overtime.
Wow. What a finish. Double overtime. I bet that was a high level anxiety game.
Bro, if you go watch the highlights of that game, and my brother was at the game, my parents were at the game with him, supporting North Augusta. They're playing at Colonial Life, home of the Gamecocks. And you watch the final 30 seconds. There were so many North Augusta fans there. Obviously, the girls' game happened right before the boys' game. So they played
Yeah.
back-to-back state championship games. So all the fans stayed. And in the last 30 seconds, that arena was louder than a lot of college basketball games that have been played in there. It was unreal, the support from North Augusta. Jacket Nation was in there strong. But shout out to those guys, Coach Young, Coach Harrell at North Augusta. Shout out to all those players. North Augusta was on the boys' side. One of their recent graduates just got killed 2 weeks ago. Cam Hollenquist. So they were playing for their former teammate. They were playing for their buddy. A lot of family members that were there still on that team. He played for North Augusta last year, so they were going through a tragic time. They rallied together. So shout out to those guys. Prayers up for the family and the team as they still continue to grieve this loss.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll keep them in prayer. That's tough, but I don't know, man. Just prayers up for them.
Yeah, North Augusta, shout out, man. Let's jump over, man. I'm excited to get Coach Robinson here from Westwood High School, our first state champion coach on the podcast. So I'm excited to have him on, and we'll jump on over Coach Trent Robinson. Welcome, Coach Trent Robinson, to Armor Up Athletics, head coach of the Westwood Redhawks and 5A state champion. Congratulations, Coach, and welcome.
Thank you, Big Time. I'm happy to be here, brother.
Man, I'm so excited for you. For you guys that don't know, when I spent my time at Westwood, I met Coach. He was a JV coach, and that's kind of where I wanted to start with you. I saw a clip circulating on social media. I think Lou Bajak had interviewed you at the game, and you had talked about the process of developing these guys. You came in with these guys 4 years ago and was their JV coach, right? Mm-hmm. So just talk about that process of what you've seen, the growth, the development, and how y'all went through that process together.
Oh man, it was crazy when we started. So, that was my second year being JV coach. A lot of people, when COVID year, I was the B team coach. But that group, man, getting them in. So we really, that past year, we hit middle schools hard. And, we was like, because most of mine were at Mother, they won a championship. So we're talking like, hey man, I think a great opportunity at Westwood would be great, man. You guys have the talent. We have great coaches here, man. And we'd love to get you in. And then, we kind of market ourselves really well. And then, they kind of attracted to us. We're not the hot school at that time, Ridge was a hot school, but these guys, they're the hot hand in middle school. They just, middle school, they just won a championship. So you can't tell them nothing. That's when they played the middle school championship at Ridge. So, man, they were, the big guys on campus. And then so getting them in. So getting those in. Then also one guy he went to elementary school with the group. His family's military, he went to Germany. His dad had came in the prior man was like, yeah, man, we've been looking at a lot of Russell Jones stuff in this gym, man. It's just, the Reggie game is crazy, man. We look forward to it. And something told me, let me talk to this parent. Like it's, you don't really know what the parent came by himself. He was military, his son's DeMarcus, he was back home. I mean, he was back in Germany. So before his ninth grade, he just came up and just to visit school himself. And we just had the best conversation. I'm like, and then when the kid got on campus, I'm like, wow, I'm so happy I did this. Like this kid is gonna be special. But man, they really came in and like worked. Like I know that kid right there, when he came into Westwood, he was varsity ready. But he said, hey coach, no, I want to play JV. Like it's not that I want to play with the friends. I just think I got some development. I think this is the perfect spot for him. So he thrived on that. Then my five other that JV, I remember like yesterday, man, we started off 4-0 JV. We played Blythewood here. We're up 10. We end up losing the game, and guys are in the locker room like really, upset. And then ever since then, we kind of took off, man. They kind of was hungry to get in the gym. And then so little we started winning JV games, then putting them in right situations at AAU. That was the big part. This is when, Coach Combs is still the head varsity coach. And then, but our varsity, man, we just could never get over that hump. Had Arden Conyers. This was his last year. So, he attracted a lot of players. At this time, a USC commit or signee, 6'7", top 5 in the state. And then, our games used to be pretty good. Arden used to really do well. And then we just got to playoffs first round, lost to South Florence. And we all us coaches was kind of just like, whoa, like we just sat and you just sat because we wasn't supposed to lose that game. And we kind of just like, we didn't know what was next. And then, a couple months later, Coach Combs told me, now that this was my second, I was going through Heathwood Hall job opened up. I was going through that, but Coach Combs called and, brought me to the classroom. You know how y'all were right next to each other, that same old classroom, 140. He's like, hey man, I got an interview with Spring Valley. I think it's a long shot. Spring Valley be the AD, so I think it's a long shot. But I just want to let you know, I know you're going through this coaching process where you're thinking about being a head coach. He said, just keep it in the back of your mind. Now, do I think I'm gonna get it? No, but just keep it back in your mind. So, little I think like 3 months later, he called me. He's like, "Hey, you're the first one to tell him. Please keep it between me, but I have to tell you because I don't want you to look back and make a mistake." He was like, "Hey, I got the AD job, so you might want to I don't know how you want to do it, but you definitely need to apply for this job." And then since then, man, we kind of that group hit the ground running. They followed. Most of them followed me to the varsity, but they were second tier guys. That's what a lot of people don't know. They were second tier guys. And then my second all-state guy, I had to have a conversation with him. Like his 10th grade year, he had to play JV. He played B team, but he just wasn't ready. Had to play JV while a lot of other people played varsity with me. And then that was my first year being head. They really worked. We had Tavares Bell. It was a player, we're 4 at the time, 4A player of the year. So a lot of guys behind him. I think we went 22-3, but another third round real bad upset. And then these group of guys, now we're looking at like, hey, y'all are the next guys up. So my guy from JV, he had an incredible summer. That was on JV when I was the varsity coach. He had an incredible summer, man. So I'm coming in his junior year, my second year as head coach. Like he's my top 2 player, and he played JV last year, not varsity. And that just speaks to his work ethic, man. Jaden Cruz really came in every day and worked. But so then my second year varsity, first year their head. With all of them, it just becomes like this JV team all over because now they're all with it's Jaden Cruz, Datron Cockfield, DeMarcus Thomas. I had Donovan Mickle who ended up this year exploring different options. Had Bryson Hardy and AJ Ville. Now he was one behind them, so he's a junior now. And with that group, man, we just kind of we hit the ground running. Their junior years, they faced some bumps. Like we started off 12-0. And then when it got in the region, we hit bumps, man. We went 4-8. We, faced a lot of adversity at that time, in the middle of region play. I missed 2 games, had a newborn. In the middle of that, our, former Booster Club president passed away. So it was just emotions was up and down. And so we were just, but they stayed locked in the gym. They stayed locked in and just got the battle to push that through. And then now, we end up somehow, just because when they split the divisions, we end up, having because now 1 through 4 have buys, so we enter playoffs as as a 7th seed, I think. Now everybody knows, our region is super hard. So we had Ridgewood, we had Sumter, who Blythewood, Ridgewood and Blythewood played in the state championship that year. Sumter had, one of the player of the years, and Lugoff, they were, they had one of the best years they ever had. Spring Valley. So everybody knows we're not a traditional 7th seed. So we had a 7th, 8th home playoff game, won that one. Then we go on the road to number 1 Conway, win that one. But then we go play Berkeley at Berkeley, and we lost that one. And now it's like we all sit in the locker room. This is 2 years in a row where we lost third round. So coming this last time, we me and the coaching staff, we kind of had a hard conversation, like some things has to change. Now all these young guys who were high on, they're seniors now. This has got to be our year. We have 2 top players coming back, top of the state. It's got to be our year. So from day one, man, it took a lot of, just getting the right pieces together, putting them in right summer events, and also, when the season started, doing something different. So like the first week we had 5 a.m. practice. And then we also, since I have a basketball class, we also were practicing that and lift. So then, the first week was really hard on them, but I told them, I said, y'all want to do something different. We have to step out our comfort zone. It's too easy to practice at 4 o'clock right after school. It's too easy. And it's too easy for y'all to show up. But at the same time, it's hard for me to watch because 4 o'clock practice, you just been through the whole school day, you're sluggish, you're tired. I'm not now throughout the season, I'm not getting you up at 5 a.m. But preseason, those weren't just good practice because you think it's going to be high energy, but then they come and they just not with it. So man, we went a little different route. Guys were, they were a little tired, but I think that really mentally challenged us. And now, we started chipping away some. And with this group, we've always had strong scrimmages. So we go scrimmage Fort Mill, top 2 team in 5A. We scrimmaged Brooklyn Casey. There's a top 10 team in 4A. And then we had one more scrimmage. Can't quite remember. And I mean, we looked really well in those. And then so now we're starting playing and we start off hot, man. I just think the guys have a little chip on the shoulder. So I had 2 guards. They never, we were always never preseason ranked high. I never had top seniors, and they kind of took that for granted. So what I did, they put out the South Carolina 5A top 10. Then they put the top 5 all South Carolina players, and then they put the top 5 seniors. So it didn't have none of my kids' name on it. So I printed out a real big one, put on the locker room door. And I printed out 7 little pages and put it on each senior locker. And I said, this is what they think of y'all. And then, I didn't say much about it. Like they came in one day and they was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, and they hit them. And then, we just battled and battled and battled. And I credited them because, man, they're a really strong group, man. You think about at a time I think right now we're in our region, which also has Ridgewood to finish state champs. We are 9-1. And we pretty much knew that we were going to be on the road in the 3rd round. And we're like, this sucks, man. We're like, but I told them, I said, y'all want to be good. Y'all got to be a mentally tough group. Our thing was Westwood. It's everybody sees, this is our first state championship. But they don't realize we never made it past the 3rd round. We had like a big 3rd round curse. So when we knew pretty much, we still had 3 region games that don't matter how we finish, we're going to finish 2nd in our region because we are in the region with, again, another state champ. That we were going to have to go to St. James in the 3rd round, but we just had to chip away. We had a bye and we had one home game. We kind of had to be road toughness, man. And they really, with that leadership, man, they was road tough. They was gritty. They were, physical, man. This was a great group, and I'm happy for them.
It's an amazing journey to hear about, just going from, B team for yourself, B team JV to varsity, and then being with the same group of guys and seeing that development. I appreciate the 3rd round curse shout out because I had the Westwood 3rd round curse in football, so I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing that up. But no, man, one of the things that is kind of a recurring theme there when you were talking, and I say it all the time, man, I say relationships win more games than scheme. And you talked about the relationships with players, with Booster Club, with administration. Like, can you elaborate on some of those and how y'all develop your relationships with your guys?
Yes, man. So with us, when I took over, and I forgot about this, I think a big thing the program was missing before, I took over was I wouldn't say all the time, but we had a lot of talent here, but I think guys truly were never connected. The locker room was never one. And not saying that was always, not saying that guys hate each other. It just was never, guys didn't talk much during the school day. They didn't hang out much. So when I took over, I came up with the brotherhood, and I said that's what I'm going to model my program after. Guys are going to love each other one way or not. So I think that first summer we did team camps, but we did a lot of team bonding. Like I made sure we did an overnight thing that first summer. I've been doing that every summer. I made sure we did a team event that has nothing to do with basketball. And then during the school year, we do stuff like the breast cancer walk. And then now it's like everybody's like, man, your friends, they're always with each other. But the admin, they love it. Because my average, I tell somebody now I had to get it now because we're sending it to superintendent. I had 7 seniors. The average GPA between 7 is 3.9. I had really scholar athletes, and they push each other. I see them go back and forth about who grades are higher and stuff. But I think early on, while they're young, they watched a group that went 22-3. They watched them be really close. Watched them like hang out 24/7. Everybody say, "Dang, when you see one, you see the other." And now when they're the big dogs, they want to be the same way. When you see one, you see the other. And then admin was great on because like our guys always had the ID on. They always didn't have hats and hood on. They were really respectful. So when we want stuff like the basketball class both semesters, my seniors, they have a lot of them really take dual enrollments. Like my seniors have college schedules. They barely ain't on campus. They come on campus for the basketball class. But my admin, it makes it easier when they develop that relationship. Like these are good kids. When our admin, we sit in meetings, we talk about where do I see the program, and it's kind of what I laid out. I said, the basketball class weightlifting, doing that year round would be huge, 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 huge. And then we kind of pieced about how things would work with the schedules, and guidance came in. I think everybody, we just was on one accord. But I think just starting the brotherhood, everybody wanted to be a part of that. Like it was kind of, the community came out kind of, when I came out, it was a resemblance of what you did. I remember when I first got to Westwood, you gave everybody the shirts that had your theme on it, had your motto on it. So that's kind of the same thing I was, trying to do. And I wanted, the first year we blew money because I wanted to just have a bunch of shirts where I could just give away. Now after that, everybody don't realize all this stuff costs money, so I can't just free shirt. But I wanted everybody to be a part and follow this program, support these young men, which they did a great job of.
Man, that's awesome because I think that's one thing that a lot of people overlook. What I call the bleacher coaches and the people that are up in the stands yelling. They have every right to be passionate about their teams. I understand that. I get that. But I think they overlook the time that coaches spend outside of, we're not just sitting around drawing up plays all day. We're monitoring grades. We're taking care of your student athlete. We're trying to find ways to make them better men as well. And I love the fact that you have those aspects in there, the motto, and bringing in some of your own flair with that as well, man. That's cool. I do want to jump into a different little topic here, man, because the first time I texted you after it was late that night after you'd won a state championship, and I see the trophy in the net back there behind you. That's awesome. But I texted you and said congratulations. I was happy for you, and then your immediate response was, "To God be the glory. It's crazy. What else can I say? I just give him all the praise and glory." And man, elaborate more on that. I mean, your faith, obviously, just in that response, I was like, immediately it hit me. I was like, I got to get him on the show. He's got to share a little bit, man. So tell me a little bit about it.
Man, my journey my journey just in sports has been crazy, man. Going from out of high school, not having the opportunity to play basketball, and then it's like in the blink of an eye, next thing you know, I'm playing in March Madness, man. I know one day when I was ready to give it up, my dad texted me, some Bible scripture, but some videos, some motivational videos, and I watched it, and I'm like, and my dad, big, he supported me a lot growing up. I played AAU. We've been playing since younger, but he, I never seen that side of him to like, kind of sitting that stuff. Like he'll come to games and that, but never really seen that side. Like, hey, don't give up, keep pushing. He's kind of like, if you want to do that, man, we could do that. So man, when I saw that, that kind of made me jump out of it, and then he followed that opportunity. And then, man, it's just because you think when my admin, when they took the staff, when they took to hire me, I was 25 years old. So, that's a lot of people, a lot too young. So I just, it's crazy because when we won it, people saying, hey, I think you're the youngest coach to win a state championship in basketball. And I'm like, it's nobody else you can think, because he put me in that position. He allowed me to come to Westwood. He allowed me to create great relationships when I've been here. Even before I was a varsity coach, I, connected with people around, I move around, but I truly cared about the school and cared about people. Kids come up to me all the time, and some people think I'm just basketball, but man, it's so many kids that either I cut or just, don't play sports that I have real great relationships with that I even still text when they graduate. So just, all that stuff, I'm just like, man, like, how can you not, thank him for every step? Because like without him, it's not possible. Like, and it's still, with the game being last Thursday, it's still like it hasn't really sunk in. A lot of people say it hasn't sunk in. I'm like, now I'm just living a regular, regular day. It's kind of like now it's crazy with, a lot of people want to support the guys and kind of doing a lot of different things, scheduling stuff. But man, it still hasn't sunk in like what we've able to do. But it's just like, man, I got through the year with or we got through the year with no injuries. We got through the year, of course, with guys having high GPAs. Like that stuff, if we play 28, 30 games a year, man, you're bound that your best player's bound to get hurt. You're bound to have adversity. But like any small adversity, we found God. My teams was big believers. My coaching staff was big believers. My support system at the house was big believers, man. So a lot of kids, we practice Sundays, but I love it because a lot of kids like, hey, coach, I'm gonna be a little late. I'm coming from church, and that's nothing. That makes you more happy. It's like, man, I'm happy that they, people are going to church, and as a coach, I can't be mad at that. Now I try to respect family time, so I don't want to have too late practice on Sunday or too early practice, but I respect when kids come in, they still in their Sunday, their church blues, dressed up and down. I think that's what's the difference maker. Because if someone texts me say they're going to be a little late because they're in church, I'll mess around and I'll put time on the clock and I'll wait for them because I know what they're doing, and that's way more important than telling them, hey, can you get me out of here early to be at practice time? That's way more important. That is going to carry them through their whole lives more than the scout we're talking about, more than the shots, more than me running them. So when you just piece all that together, it's like, man, God, we kept putting him first through the highs and lows, and now we're just reaping the benefits of it.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm gonna put you on the spot here a little bit. Um, is there a Bible verse or a biblical truth that you kind of lean on when times get tough, or one of your favorite verses, anything like that that you could share?
Honestly, and this may sound staged, but it's not. Every time it's something going on, I love to like I'll go and I want something new because it's something new. Then I want to think and get down to it, and I want to kind of a juicier script that is that you really really have to think about it. But in my mindset, what this is, the time I'm thinking, trying to figure out what exactly this means, then whatever I'm going through is right on the back burner because now I'm just trying to now all my mind is like, oh, what is he, what is going on? How does this relate to my life? Okay, why did he put me here? Why did he allow me to pick this exact verse? So now it's like I could be, I guess, some stuff I could be, mad about or, maybe, one of my kids are going through something or, I'm going through something with the family or, anything, season didn't go as any small thing that at the time that I thought was big, man, it's just out the window because now I'm thinking about, okay, what put me here to, it's any other things I can do. And I can be listening, I can be watching TV going to sleep, but I'm on my phone reading something and I'm bigger guy, somebody told me, nowadays, a lot people do a lot more reading. And he told me, and then I was like, man, I don't really read books. He was like, well, what do you do? And I tell him a lot of stuff I do. I said, I'm a TV guy and stuff. He was like, so how do you learn information when you don't know something? I said, well, I'm the first one to go to Google or find the source. He's like, well, what's different about reading an article, a nice article that's well put together? What's the difference of that and book? He said, when you read articles, do you truly like, are you reading them to learn something? I said, pretty much. He's like, it's no different. So I'm big on kind of trying to challenge myself and learn something. And I'll be on my phone reading something over and over. And then if it's a word in the scripture that I don't understand, or if it's a phrase there that I don't get, I copy and paste that, put it in Google. Okay, what does that mean by it? And we just keep piecing the whole thing together until we figure out. So, I always hate that I don't have one scripture that I can just spit off the top of my head that I go to. But so that's why I kind of get deep into why I do this because it's a meaning of why that I go and look up and try to find something different.
I think that's important too because you can have a favorite verse, but for me that verse could change, and then you can read something and you're not, going through something different in your life, and you read it again and it impacts you a different way. So I definitely think you can approach the scripture that way. You could read a verse right now from Matthew, and it not mean nothing to you, but 3 months from now you might be going through something, and you read it again, and you're like, oh wow,
Oh,
and it hits you different, right? So I think that's important to know, and it's not that you have to have a favorite verse or anything like that. Our favorite verse here is Ephesians 6:11, just because we want to put on the full armor of God to protect yourself against the devil's evil plans. So that's why we call ourselves Armor Up Athletics. But
okay.
in my personal life, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of things that apply to different times, different seasons, off season, in season, right? But no, man. Again, we just wanted to have you on to share a little bit, man. I'm proud of you. I don't know if you remember when I was at Westwood, we kind of flirted with the idea of you coaching a little bit of football back then.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out the schedule and how it could work. It never could make that happen. But man, I think you'd have been great there too. Um, I'm proud of you, dude. I know you got a ring coming, a state championship ring coming, but you got another one coming too, right?
Yes, sir, man. We getting married. If I say getting married August 7th, right in you probably been right in Doko Manor.
Mhm. That's awesome, man. So shout out to you. Congratulations on that. Do you want to give your wife a shout out real quick, or future wife a shout out real
Yeah,
quick?
my future wife, Asia Haskins. So her and then the little one, Taden Elena Robinson. And she's 1 month. She turned one in January 13th. She's active, talking, starting to run and fall every 2 seconds. Man, they're a lot of my life. They are my life, and they both have they allow me to do what I do, and of course that means I'm not always at the house, but they're very very supportive. They're at the games a lot. We try to go a routine where if they're able to make the game, which 9 times out of 10 they'll make it. I try to go kiss them before the game and hold the little one, kind of get that little anxiousness outside of you. But man, I told everybody, a lot of people have been asking, the season here, you getting some rest. I said, actually, I owe it to them. And now is the time when, I work, start working more. We need to start diving into the wedding stuff and just giving them more time. And it's getting warmer, so taking my daughter to the parks because she is active. She don't really like to sit around. Just doing stuff like that and putting my tiredness behind myself because if I'm able to be tired and push through practice, push through games, then I'm able to be tired and push through. And then I get smiles out of that. The difference is when I'm tired and push through practice, man, they do something to make me mad and yell at them. But yeah, man, just shout out to them for being my backbones and with me through this journey.
Man, I've said it 100 times to people that ask. There's a special place in heaven for a coach's wife. They basically become a widow when you're in season, man. It's just crazy. They have to take care of the house, take care of the family. Shout out to the coaches' wives. My wife, Megan. Shout out to
Oh
her as
yeah,
well. But man,
definitely tell them that.
congratulations to you and the family. I know it's an exciting time. I know you still got you got work to do, and that's what people too don't understand about coaching. Like right now, you just win a state championship, and now you're out working a soccer game and doing gate duty.
Yep, yep,
So
yep. And
always
then
on the grind.
it never stops because some teams, I've been fortunate enough to play the full season, but some teams probably been out since first round, so people are starting to schedule summer events. So like now the other day texting, hey, you want to do the summer event stuff? So you may have some time off, but it really doesn't stop. So it's important to just try to find free time because the work is gonna keep coming.
Absolutely, man. The grind never stops. Coach Robinson, man, 2 rings on the way, 5A state champion, Westwood High School. Way to bring one back to the castle, man. So happy
Man,
for you.
thank you, man. It's been an honor, and community deserves it all.
Thank you for joining us tonight, man. We sign off with Go Cougars, Go Jesus, because I'm a Cougar now, but we'll sign off with this segment with Go Redhawks, Go
Man,
Jesus.
thank you for having me, Big Time.
Yes, sir. What a great time with Coach Robinson, state champion, getting 2 rings coming up, talking about development, talking about relationships. I love it. Phillip was unable to join us. He got invited to sit in some club seats to watch the Gators play. I know that broke his heart to have to do that. He's probably going to see me close out the show without him and talk a little junk about him. But um, great time tonight. Episode 30. Surrender. Guys, give it up. Give it to him. Give your worries to him. Give your fears to him. Give your pain to him. Give your stress to him, guys. and watch what happens in your life. What's the worst you got to lose? What's the worst you got to lose, man? Give your pain, your sorrows, your worry to Him, pray about it, and move forward. And God will make a difference in your life. We thank you for joining us. It's been a great night. Episode 30, the TD episode. Coach Robinson, Phillip Leviner, Matt Quinn. As always, go Cougars, go Jesus.
Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in His will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Built the truth, yeah.